Awesome. So we are now live. So welcome to Off the Record, Airtable Secrets and Lore. I have no idea what week it is this week, but we are back this week. It's September 15th. We're a group of Airtable users exploring new ways to use Airtable to optimize our businesses and lives. We're open to hearing from anyone about your experience, good or bad, using Airtable to make a positive impact in the world. We also attempt to promote people coming from any level to share your ideas or ask questions. We also share our experiences, tips, and practices and offer ways to get help and get involved in the community. We meet every Wednesday from 7 p.m. Eastern time to 8 p.m. Eastern time here in Zoom. So if you would like to join at 7 p.m. Eastern time, go to www.videowithben.com and you can join us in this Zoom room and you can come on here and be on the show. So to kick things off, we're back. We were off last week. And so there's been a lot of news that has accumulated. There's lots of new apps, new additional softwares releases. I know Camille was on like 2 weeks ago and she had one that she had just released. Dan released one. There's been updates to Softer. There's been stuff happening with Airtable. So we'll just jump right in. There's also been news in Airtable. Chris, do you have an idea of like where we want to start off this week with?
It is jam-packed with information and entertainment. So strap yourself in, get your crystals out, because the Airtable is lit. No, I don't. I am just so exhausted. I have been working so crazy. I have a new puppy. My life is just a hot mess. But yes, I made a list. There is news. I've got emails from the CEO of Softer. I have interesting gossip on a new financial app I can demo. I have got not one, not two, but 3 projects I currently have going live. We have updates to the group because there have been some questions about the group. And let's not forget, there's a new talk show in town. We'll just leave that alone for a second. And then lastly, my little bit of foreshadowing. Ben, cut this to the front of the video. There is a certain consultant, well known to all of us, who has started a new channel, and he's going to help you become a 7-figure consultant. Just between you and me, if I ever became a 7-figure consultant, I wouldn't be on YouTube. No, but we will go to the actual news as soon as you're ready, because I got some cool stuff.
Yeah, I didn't know you had some new financial tools.
I can't tell you all the good stuff. If I tell you all my good stuff, I will never get anything done.
And there's Pori updates as well.
There's Pori updates. You said there's Softer updates. There's a lot of good stuff. But I want to start off with something I mentioned in the group that a bunch of people chimed in on. And that's, has anyone noticed the extra wide screen happening?
I've noticed that on my app.
Yeah, so they're doing this wide screen situation, and my feeling is we are going to have a brand new modular way to edit and move forms around. Something just tells me we're foreshadowing, saying I called it a week ago when I first noticed it, but I'm still thinking. Ben, Kavan, my Texas peeps, are you feeling that this could be a sign of something to come?
I think so. I think something's coming. I definitely think something's coming.
I think it's a sign. I think like in like a month or 2 from now, it's gonna be crazy that we've only ever been able to have like the expanded view be right in the middle of the screen. Like you can't shrink it down. You can't move it to the left or the right. Like it's always like stuck in the middle of the screen. And if you want to move it, you have to exit out of it. I think
which brings us to a very interesting question. Let's suppose for a moment, let's look into our crystal ball. Do we have one? I've got multiple. Let's gaze into our crystal ball. Let's suppose that Airtable is about to do something with forms. First off, okay, TikTok. It's only been like 5 years. But second off, what happens? This plethora of expanded applications in the App Store, I can think of one off the top of my head that have built businesses around expanding forms. Dan, OpenSide? I'm just saying what we will see happen with Airtable in the next 12 to 24 months is going to be so radical when you think about how it's going to shake up the ecosystem that brought them to this point. Not only will it be app and app developers, Kavan is an app developer. I kind of see Kavan's apps, I'll be honest with you, kind of in a cone of safety. Kavan doesn't never seem to take on the let me rebuild what should obviously be there from the start. Like, to me, that's just, it's like asking, that's like having your kids play in the middle of the road. But I do think there's some foreshadowing to come. I think consulting is also something we're going to hear about real soon. I think their new kind of media stuff, there's a lot going on. But I'm just speculating with feathers.
I mean, there's a lot of platforms that are built around like Airtable's front end, or like putting something in lipstick on the pig.
And I always found that to kind of be an insulting saying. First off, pigs don't need lipstick. They're just beautiful on their own. Second off,
Airtable
lipstick. Yeah, I know, I get it. Oh, well, so that's, I wanted to start with what I think is the biggest news, even though we don't know it yet. I think the wider screen is foreshadowing the biggest thing this year. And if we go back to our predictions from earlier in the year, one of them was forms. And I think a redhead had something. I had to go pull that one up. Next, do you have anything next? Because I've got apps, I've got news.
I know some
dog treats
had issues with when they released that expand, like the wider form, like you couldn't scroll. So it was like me and like 3 of my clients at the same time. We were like all like stuck in the Airtable app because we couldn't scroll down a record and get past anything past like 3 fields.
I had the same thing. I'm telling you right now, I had an itchy trigger finger. I was like, I can't do anything. It was hard.
I feel like that's also foreshadowed. Like they didn't like whatever structural stuff they had going out earlier this year when there were a lot of the outages. Like that was a very minor like bug, but if they were, or when they do something bigger, I worry that there's going to be a lot of like stuff freezing, like the scroll bar not being there, like when they're releasing stuff.
I would just love to see some combination of the new button action from about 6 months ago with the new forms. Because I think the ability to launch a form from within a table view and actually have that form be interactive with constraints and rules and things is kind of what we need.
Yeah, like have like workflows.
Oh, don't even get me started on that. I've been off the group too long. I'm going to have to get out my sage spray and just demystify this Airtable. I cannot go into work. It is too soon. Too soon.
Yeah, so what's next? What's next on the list of?
Interestingly enough, I'd like to drop another. Now, this is an actual app. Now, again, this is one of those things I think like Kavan, like Camille, Chameleonaire, to those in the know, that needs nothing. Now, you might remember I had tried out an application called Fintable. Remember this? Mm-hmm. Yes. By the way, if I ever try out your application, developers, don't drop me as a reference on your front page without checking. Just don't. I'll let you know when it's okay. So I was trying out another new application. This one is called Finta. Now, granted, I have known about Finta for some time. I signed up for it a while ago. Have you guys heard of Finta? F-I-N-T-A.
I've not heard of Finta.
So Finta, let me see if I can find the developer real quick. Finta is something I signed up for earlier in the year. Great developer. Her name is Taylor Fasten. She is from Cambridge. Got a great website here, Taylor. She's a student, a builder, and a data enthusiast. Her pronouns are she, her, Black Lives Matter, women in tech, all the good stuff. Well, she had released something earlier in the year. And if we go back and scroll through the, like, what is this? So yeah, January 15th, I originally reached out to her. So she released this and I loved it because as you guys know, I was using a combination of Tiller money and Zapier to grab my transactions and pull them into my Airtable. And it's okay. Again, I love Wade. Zapier is an amazing thing. but it's not ready for prime time. I'll always default to native Airtable. Long story short, I tried out Fintable. Again, don't use my name without my permission. And it worked okay. I'll be honest with you. It's a little pricey. All right. We're going to talk about price and a lot of things today. But I had my eye on this Finta for some time. So I saw a note on Reddit that Finta was back out for people to try again. So again, pricing, perfect, right? So you look at this pricing, $45. Fintable's a little bit higher than that. But it syncs banks. Now, granted, if you're not in the US, I know there's a lot of you. It's just US and Canada right now, and automatically pulls the stuff in. It's a pretty simple interface. You come in, you add your account. It's using Plaid to talk to everything, and it pulls your transactions in here, bank accounts, and pulls in all your transactions into a transaction log that you can then roll up and see the different transactions. I'll tell you why I'm loving Finta. Real simple. It worked the first time. I didn't have to jump through a million hoops to get my API in there. They gave me a pre-configured base. Now, granted, one of the things I didn't want was a pre-configured base, but you know what pre-configured bases we can do now? We can link to external tables. So again, problem solved that I always had. I didn't want my transactions in a different place. I can keep them in this base. They've given me a budget template, all the charts and graphs, right? $45 a year. Quicken is like 5 times that. And I can link it to, so I can build my client billing now integrated. Always was, but now I don't have to think about it. I have to count on Zapier. Or let's just suppose Airtable decides to, like, I don't know, talk to something. Like, so, you know, Google Sheets, I can actually have more than 25 automations, right? Because this is doing a lot of that stuff for me. So I just want to say bravo to our makers and developers, especially women, people of color, and other marginalized people. Every time I look at one of your applications, whether it be Kavan or Camille, or this app, genius. Thoughts?
I would love to use it. Finta.
2-week trial, 2 weeks. I didn't give them my credit card. But obviously they know my everything. But it just worked. And what I loved about it was you want to see a little trick? You want to see a little Finta trick?
Yeah.
Can you do a screen share?
Yeah. I have been screen sharing some of this, haven't I?
Oh, yes. Yeah. Oh, it's just I forgot to rearrange my screens.
Yeah. So Finta. Yeah. But little hack, if you sync your accounts, you can come in here and actually change the start date and grab older transactions. So you can go back up to 3 months.
Okay.
Pretty smart, right?
Will it keep records in that base after 3 months?
Yeah, so your base lives forever. It's not like they archive out. You can only go historically back 3 months. You know, so for those of us who have consulting practices, and we're going to get to the 7-figure consultants, I'll see you, Gareth. We're gonna talk about how all of that works. And I think this is a big deal because, again, for a lot of us who have either running our lives or our businesses or anything, being able to have your transactions from your bank, your credit cards automatically in your base is a big deal. Big deal.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I can definitely see that. Like, I have one of the more popular videos on my channel is like a simple accounting database, and half of it is manually, like for any expense you have is like filling out a form, screenshotting a receipt and putting the amount. So all you'd have to do then is just like find the receipts and upload them, because it would just be pulled in from Finta.
So I guess we can move on to interfaces, front ends, the good stuff, the sexy.
Yeah.
We have our big 3 challengers, although site to table is like a 4th one. I got called out on one of the channels, like, why don't you ever try site to table? Well, first, like, I didn't know. Second, I went to the site. Have you guys been to site to table to site?
A long time ago, but they don't do that much.
Well, this is the thing. Apparently they do now.
They do now?
So,
oh.
Listen, I just report the news. I don't make it. Well, that's a lie, but we'll get more about that later.
There's anything.
Yeah, so apparently this is new. I mean, it's been around forever. You guys are right. I've seen it forever. But apparently, if you go to their roadmap, they've actually just done some things. So this is, you can see it was 2019 was the last time it was touched, but it was touched here. and the soon was coming up. So I guess what I'm trying to say is we can't just say Pori, Softer, Stacker anymore. We might have to start including more. Is that fair?
Throwing more kids into the road.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's just going to be too many.
It's just too many. So I reached out because you know me, I love the community. I love the people.
Wait. Kuvan, do you remember Camille had that one app that was like, it didn't originate on Airtable, but then they came to Airtable. Do you remember what that one was called?
Do you mean UI Bakery?
Yeah, UI Bakery. I feel like that would be the number 4 if there, or maybe in the top 3 if there was.
I think what we have here is actually there's portals where they're editing, and then there's websites where they just take it and it just puts up a website, but people don't actually go back and edit. And then you've got this middle ground. And some of them are very clearly on one end versus the other. So for example, to me, Stacker is very much a portal where people who are not Airtable collaborators can go in and actually edit Airtable data. But then Table to Site is something that's at much the other end, where it is, let's just build a website, but it's not going to be people interacting and editing or doing those kinds of things with the data. And then you've got like Softer, where they started off at one and they're kind of moving towards the other to more doing both.
Yeah. And I think, again, let's not forget, Softer just got what, $25 million? I mean, they should be literally like Oprah, and you get a pre-bait. I mean, they've got more money than, but let's not go into that. I agree with you completely, Kavan. You've got kind of your native, because that's why I love Pori. Pori, if you just want to slap a front end on something and make it quick and dirty, and actually have a named website, you can do that. I want to like Softer. I literally reached out to their CEO.
What happened? What happened there? Were you impressed?
Well, I don't know. Should we review her email? Go ahead and bring up the email. So I reached out and said, I may be, by the way, I did not know Mira, and this is Softer now. Now, remember, Softer has the top 50 influencers. So they've actually defined who's important. Ben, I think you're on one of these lists, aren't you?
I am on one of these lists.
So you are an influencer to Softer. So I reached out. I did not know Miriam was the CEO. I just reached out. This is the name on the web. And I said, hey, I may be interested in your highest plan. Now, with that being said, if you look at their highest plan is what? 165 a month, right? So we're not talking chump change. We're talking, I'm going to spend some coin, right? The email I get back, how can I help? Oh, okay, well, I don't know. I think I might be interested in your highest plan is probably a good sign. Like, you don't know. I Google everyone's last name. Okay, well, not a problem. I'd like to schedule time to talk. So as you can tell right now, I'm trying to be clear. I'd like to spend a couple grand with you. I'd like, how can I, maybe we should chat. So am I off base so far? Things seem crazy, out of sorts? Because, you know, I was at this point, I was getting healing crystals. All like, this person's not thinking, right?
She doesn't know who you are.
We're gonna hit that next. Can you please, so she writes back, can you please share your specific needs and what topics you'd like to speak about? Okay, so let me understand this. So far, I want to spend a bunch of money with you and I want to schedule a time to talk, but now you want specific needs. All right, so this is good. Now,
well, I think that has showed up in their product. So like, she's wondering what specific needs do you have? And it seems like their product, they started on one end instead of like keep trying to improve on that. They kept meeting everybody else's needs. And now I've tried to use it twice in like the past 3 weeks. And each time it's, for me, like even like being really familiar with Airtable and like Stacker and now Pori, like it's so confusing on how to use because I feel like they've tried to meet too many people's needs along the way. Like there's, Chris, I think I said about this, your featured tweet on Twitter. It's like the app has like 1,000 different buttons and like drop downs to like customize it. And then there's like Google with like one search bar. And I feel like Softer is like the 1,000 different drop downs, and it's just, and on their homepage it says no learning curve. Like, I looked at it, literally, we will find it says no.
Anything that has has no learning
Yeah.
curve means you can't
So-
do very much with it.
So basically, you've got Softer, you've got Pori, and then you've got basically got what Airtable will do. So yeah, I agree with you. Again, I want to like Softer. I have tried. It's kind of like at least Michael from Stacker met with me. Okay, what do we got? We got some screen sharing going on here.
Right here. 0 learning curve.
Zero learning curve. Well, all I got to say is if you're in an alternate reality where curves are actually inverse, upside down, and stabbing you in the back, it would be 0 to someone. But people love it. And you know who loves it? Consultants. Consultants who are selling just mints of services so they can come in here and have another tool to configure and someone else to point the blame at. But I digress. So she comes back and says to me, hey, want to tell me specifically? So I went back and told her, I said, hey, I'm currently using Pori. I've got a revenue of this customers of this amount. Let's chat. You can book a time here to speak. Okay. So 2 things that are not happening, Miriam. I'm not booking a time to speak with you ever. This is not a way to handle a customer ever. And second of all, if you're that busy, don't answer email. You've got $25 million. Hire someone to
It doesn't
answer
make sense
email.
why she's the one.
Why couldn't she, if that's what it was going to come down to, why couldn't she have put that like way up in the email chain right away?
Again, I'm sure she's like a lot of people, they're super busy. I get it. Trust me, I get it. I see it all the time. I'm super busy. I get it too. But the idea is, I think it's just a level of control that some founders have to have. And I think having access to the front door of people coming in and wanting to spend money with them is important to her. But again, if I look at Softer's tactics of these content marketing plays to name influencers so they'll mention them, I'm an influencer and I'm mentioning them. You're horrible. There are better ways you can handle this. And I just think as a community, we need to be really careful when we're investing our customers' time and money with organizations that have these types of practices and are this poorly managed. That's my only thought. Which brings me to my next point. Where's Stacker? I swear, it has been an age. Have there been any updates? I kind of miss them.
Actually, Softer released a feature that made me go back to try it out. And it turns out you need like a higher plan than I have. But I wish Stacker had it, and it's charts. So they released like the chart blocks. And I know that's like one of the biggest things in like a user portal is that people ask for is like, can you get customized charts based on the person that's logged in? And I think
so I'm using charts in my latest system on Pori. I'm using a bunch of stuff, and again, this is something you can ask Airtable for, but I agree with you. When I saw Softer do chart blocks, I thought good on them. And but I hate to say this, but they're making me want Stacker to come back and come back hard.
One thing I'm looking at Softer and their website, and their record limits are really low.
Right?
for free isn't like 100.
Well, who cares what their free ones? I mean, if they're going to give you something for free, anything that they
What it's
give
worth.
you is nice. But, for starter, so someone that's just starting out, you can only have 1,000 records. For $65 a month, you can only get 10,000 records.
I'm trying to, sorry, I brought up,
What
we're
is
talking about Softer now, right?
Yeah. In order, you have to do the business, the $165 a month in order to get your full base.
Yeah. And again, I think what I like about Softer is they've thought about this. Let's give them some props for a minute. All right. Again, collaborators are required. Custom domains probably required. One thing I'd like to see, again, can we talk to these people who are putting up, just raking in money without thinking about the bigger needs? You need to be able to sell them more than 1-3 custom domains. I mean, at the end of the day, if people are building apps, they're not stopping at 3, and they're not going to order multiple of these. I mean, the whole thing is in the custom domain. But that being said, I think this is good stuff. But if we look at what Pori's doing lately, again, you guys, everyone knows I'm a Pori. They've added collaborators now, so I can come in here and look at my different Pori sites and my different customers and see all of this. So like when I'm in here actually working on my base that's tied to these charts, my customer and I can now collaborate on it, just like we can collaborate on our actual Airtable base. So I don't know. I think Softer is heading in the right direction, but they're not thinking longer term. But again, I'm going to ask what I asked just a few minutes ago. Where is Stacker? They were all over the place a while ago. And it's like, since the last big Softer announcement, we haven't heard a peep. They're either raising money or something.
Do they have a public roadmap?
Stacker. Well, I don't know. I mean, the thing that made me go crazy with them is they had Stacker, then they had this thing called Stacker X, which was like some pre-configured thing, and then they kind of junked that, and then they were back to. I don't know what they're doing now. We'll have to find one of our. And again, I think it's really interesting that when people on our group ask about solutions, they'll always say, "Oh, hey, try Stacker, try Softer, try Pori, try this, try that," but no one ever really talks about how amazing they are. Have you noticed that? No one ever says, try Stacker, it's amazing. They just like, try Stacker. It's like saying, try Wheat Germ. You know, hey, my bowels haven't moved in a week. Try Fiber. It doesn't taste good, but it'll make you move. I just like, you know, I would love to see one radical endorsement for one of these tools.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
I think all of these tools have their pain points.
Oh, absolutely. And trust me, I have taken Pori to the woodshed. I am like, I tell them, I've got paying clients. What are you doing to me? Smalls? It's just like, you know, they just did a major rebuild of the platform, right? And we've all been through that, right? It's like things are breaking and falling apart. It is what it is. Interesting little update on our friends Pori, though. They just launched a new table layout, so you can have kind of these grouped tables now, which is kind of cool. But you can now display linked records. So again, Pori to me, hands down. You look at the price point. What is the price point on Pori? Does anyone remember?
I'm looking at it now. $40 per app per month for professional.
Yeah, $40. Okay, sign me up.
That's interesting that Pori is per app.
Yeah, I mean, I got grandfathered in because I was so early. But again, what I love about Pori is you can have a free Airtable and a free Pori and basically build anything for your community. It's like instant solution for 99% of the problems in the world, right? For $12, you get one custom domain. But again, $12, no record limit. You take up to 39 and you can have membership.
There's no $60 tier.
Okay, wait a minute. I just realized I'm actually an endorsement. Okay,
Yep.
So just to be fair,
I saw it. I said, did they talk to you about that?
just to be fair, I will pull up the email. I did tell them like 6 months ago they could use me, so they probably forgot. I probably forgot, but I did give them permission to use it. So I don't know. It's good stuff. I mean, I don't know. I'm going to be a big fan of Pori until I know better. I hope Softer hires some people. I remember that when they first got their funding, they sent out an email without a link or something was misspelled. And I think my big takeaway was with all that money, could you hire a spell checker and Stacker? But it's good. But let's get to the good stuff. We're a talk show. We talk about our community. There's new content on the horizon. Have you guys seen that we have new content on the horizon? And I am talking about Table Talk. Officially from Airtable, Airtable is launching something called Table Talk.
I have not watched this, but did he get a spray tan?
I don't know. Let me go back.
Like incredibly tan.
Well, he's Canadian, so I don't think you can hear it. But he introduces himself as Aaron from Airtable's education team. So again, he's using his official designation, 7 of 9, or I think he's 8.5 of 9. But he's saying that weekly, they're going to do this on Thursdays at 1 p.m. and answer questions real time. So it's kind of pretty cool. But you can even come in here and set reminders. I'm going to go ahead and put all these reminders on and come and watch. So I think this is great. I think if you look at what Airtable's been doing I don't know if you guys follow Airtable on Twitter, but they've been doing some amazing stuff on Twitter with their social media lately. So right away, they're doing stuff for Latina Heritage Month. Boom, right there. They're interesting little things, like these little blogs about I don't know, to me, their social media game is super strong. Thoughts on Table Talk? I'm excited.
I want to know, like, what's the difference between that and Aaron's show?
Aaron passed the 6-month gating procedure, so he's officially an employee. I don't know. He used to wear glasses, so apparently Airtable fixes your vision. If you use Airtable long enough, you can lose the glasses. But didn't he used to wear glasses?
I think so.
I don't remember.
Does that
He's
mean
Canadian?
Does that mean eventually, Ben, you're going to lose your glasses?
Once Airtable hires me.
No, I'm curious to see what it's going to be on. They do have a form, an Airtable form, where you can submit your questions in advance. It does look like they want your questions to be on the topic that they chose. So I don't know whether or not they're going to, if you have some kind of, left ball field question that's not related to the topic, will they answer it? I don't know. Will they bring it up? I don't know.
I mean, there is a huge difference between Dr. Oz and a real doctor. So I think if someone's telling you kind of their area of expertise and where your questions need to be gated, I'm not sure. But I like the idea. Again, to me, it looks inclusive. It looks inviting. I'm a fan. I do wonder, Ben, same thing you said, Kavan. I don't know, but Aaron has a lot of shows. He's got that. He's got that one show. What's the Amazon property where you do stuff live?
Twitch.
He's got a show on Twitch, or he used to. He's got his own YouTube channel. I mean, let's be honest, Aaron's a big deal.
He's in a lot of places.
Yeah.
He's in a lot of places.
I just question, what other inclusive talk shows are already existing that people can come to and ask their questions?
Well, no, I mean, we're it. We were the first, we'll be the last. Yeah. But speaking of inclusivity, can I drop the real bomb on you guys? We all are fans of Gap Consulting. Is that fair to say? We're fans. I mean, Gap Consulting. Okay, don't everybody speak at once. Gap Consulting.
I'm a fan of Gap.
Okay, this was Gareth was the keynote at my event last year. Gap has been around forever. Everybody loves Gap. I think Gareth was heralded early on the community on this. He was on Keep Productive, but now we've got people like Ben. But I want everyone just to calm down and just take a breath, because what I'm about to show you, some of you may not know. Now, we know Gareth as just a decent community member, family man by you, from Colorado, great state, Rocky Mountain High. But what you might not know is Gareth and Gap Consulting has been successful. And I mean really successful. Because in his new video, Gareth makes sure to let you guys know he's a 7-figure consultant. So let's talk about 7 figures. So what I think was amazing about what Gareth is doing here is, first off, he's got a brand new group called Built to Scale. So now, don't get excited, people. You're not going to get Airtable news and Built to Scale. Built to Scale is just for you budding consultants, people who watch us, and want to build a new business. Something, Kavan has a business, Ben has a business, I have a business, but I'll be honest with you, I don't do a lot with it. But Built to Scale is this business. But what I think is amazing about what Gareth has done here is he's either pivoted or he's extended his brand, because in this video, he goes over the 3 myths you need to be a 7-figure consultant. And I think these are amazing. The first one was, do you need to know everything? I'll save you a click. No. Do you need a huge portfolio of work? Now, this is where I think was really interesting. Gareth points out that you literally can have no actual successful clients and still be successful. And if someone's not willing to try you out, just move on. And I think that was just rock solid advice. And the last one was, do you need an elaborate website? Now, this is myth number 3 for successful consulting. And the answer was no. You could just do it with a calendar link. So guys, this is kind of a big deal. This is like September 10th. This was 5 days ago. We all know Gareth We are all consultants of one sort or another.
The website
Are
is
you-
interesting to me because he has like a very, I don't know if complex, I don't think complex is the right word, but like there's a lot to his website. And as long as I've known his videos, there's been a lot to his website.
Yeah. I think he's done a really good job with the Gap Consulting website. But if you go to his new Build to Scale website, again, great stuff, free training, consulting 101, earn more, work less, work anywhere. Are you feeling overwhelmed? Interestingly enough, if we go to Gareth's keynote from last year, I asked Gareth to actually talk about building a consulting business on Airtable. So Gareth, Build to Scale, that was my idea, baby. I told you, you need to come and do a keynote to talk about how you built your successful business. And look at you, a year later, brand new company, talking about your 7 figures. Now that's some bling and a new website. All I got to say is, Gareth, you are a rock star. Oh, there's just a lot of new content, lots of new content. Thoughts? I still can't wait. I still want to know what are you guys going to do your 7-figure side hustles to teach other people? Come on, you must be 8 figures, right? No?
I make hardly any money at all.
She helps Gareth.
Oh, do you help Gareth?
I guess I do. So he subcontracts to
He's not paying you enough, obviously.
Well, I don't work full time, first of all. And also, well, while money is nice, I don't do this primarily for money. And I am a developer. I am not a marketer. I am not a finance person.
And you have a lot cooler projects than those ones. Like you do all the custom stuff as well.
Well, one of my problems is I'll have an idea for something that I want to build and I'll go out and build it. And then I'm like, okay, it's built. And, it takes work to actually go and sell it. And I'm not a salesperson.
And again, if you want to know more about Kavan, she's got a website and stuff, but she was also one of the keynotes last year. Kavan, I think what you do is amazing. I'm always flabbergasted by the thoughtfulness of your applications, but I'll just be honest with you guys, I still cannot get over that you can make 7 figures on Airtable Consulting and then spin out a side business to teach other people how to make 7 figures. I mean, look at Gareth. He even kind of looks James Bondish. I mean, look at this. He is coming right into your living room. So there is more content. If you're just starting out as a consultant, you can do this. If you're just starting out to create content, we have content creators come. You can do any of this. Ben, we should start a channel on how to create content.
Yeah, I remember one of the things. So they were at a point, Gap was, and they had a client, and they wanted to offboard them, I guess, or they didn't have capacity, and so seemed like one of the phrases that the guy that I talked to had was it was they're not able to get enough people, so it was directly impacting the cash flow.
Yep.
So it kind of seemed, and I know Gareth was talking about this 5 or 6 months ago, and I can't say where I heard it, but he was talking about doing a channel like this. So it seems like Gap might be at the peak of where he thinks Airtable Consulting can go, or Airtable coaching, consulting, and any products that he has can go. So now he's starting this other thing.
And again, I think that's smart. Just like everyone, all these other great companies. If you're going to build your entire reputation on Airtable, make sure you have an actual exit plan, right? If that's the case, that's the case. But again, I think it is remarkable. We're at a point, literally just a couple years into this Airtable thing, where we've got consultants now spinning off because they've got 7-figure jobs in the middle of the pandemic. With that being said, let's talk about something else. So you guys know every now and then I do a little Airtable side goodness. Most of the time I'm just being Chris Dancy up on stage. live from Vegas, all this other kind of stuff. Well, recently I picked up a client. This client wanted a little of everything. So the first thing I did was I spun up a little base where I could send them questions, shared it with them. We track our tasks. We have our whole pipeline of in here, what we're delivering when, who's doing what. I put my statement of work in here so they know what I'm charging them for. They also know what hours are going toward those hours. So it's super simple. When I log hours, goes right against the statement of work, super simple stuff. One of the things they really wanted was something I do called phone palmistry. So for the longest time, phone palmistry has been something I fly around the world doing. It's kind of weird, but I love it. I'll be honest with you. Basically, I sit in a booth in countries all over the world. I've read everybody's phone from Jack Dorsey to Mark Zuckerberg's phone, and people wait in line and they come up, hand me their phones, and I tell them a little bit about their future just by looking at their home screen. It's kind of fun, right? People love it. Events go crazy for it. It is what it is. Well, my new customer wanted to have something like this for their event, and so did my last customer last month for Microsoft. So again, using Pori, I built a great little site that allowed me to digitize phone palmistry. So now for events as an add-on service, using Airtable and Pori, I have my new phone palmistry site, phonepalmistry.com. And actually the app is phonepalmistry.com if you just want to go there. I created an actual domain for it. And when you go there, you can see all the phones I've read, right? So if you want to come in here and see like how I read a phone, what I learned about that person, you can download the actual image from the phone if you want to save it. Or you can come in here and just upload your own. So like, hey, here's my phone shot. I don't ask you anything about you. I do ask if you believe in magic because it helps me figure out a little bit about what you do for a job, etc. But what's really great about this site is it's allowed me, when we now do this for events, is these links tie back into the event that I'm actually speaking for. So it drives attendance. But more importantly, the event that I'm about to do next is always at the bottom. So think about this. I took something I did physically at events. I digitized to put a front end on it with Airtable, allow people to upload their content. That content is then read, saved back to the site. So now it's created a revenue model that goes around Airtable, but also ties into my actual other job. Does that make sense? And I think this is the use case I want to talk to when we talk about consulting in Airtable. Because you could be an Airtable consultant. You could actually be a super smart person like Camille or Kavan or Ben, who does like mind bending stuff. But for me, I'm not that person. Ben will tell you. I'll call Ben all the time and say, Ben, I call him on a Campbell phone. Ben, need help with a formula. And Ben, tell them, you help me, don't you?
Yep, plenty of formulas.
You do help me with formulas. But this, I think, sets a clear precedence for like what you can do if you're just a regular Joe and want to extend, no matter what you do, dog grooming, Devin is a vertical farming, right? No matter what you do, you can start to extend your work. Thoughts?
I think you're one of the most creative people, intelligent people that I have had the pleasure to have a conversation with. Maybe you don't like writing formulas, but you definitely have other skills in other areas that are pretty amazing.
Oh, you're very kind. I wasn't looking for, I actually wasn't looking for an ego stroke. I was just like, what did you think of the concept of taking something I'd done like in IRL and then kind of digitizing it now and use it? Because now when I'm selling events now, I actually add this as an add-on. It's another $30,000. That's
what I was saying is this, I think that you're amazing and creative to come up with this. It's a really cool idea.
Cool. All right, are you ready for the next new thing? So events are always trying to get people excited about the next event. And as the keynote speaker, it's usually up to me like to not only inspire and delight, mystify, but get people interested in next year. So for another one of my clients, we went ahead and created, again, another Pori site. We call this one State of Connectedness, where you can actually come and look at the actual event, like learn about it. You can come and see me speak and all that other kind of stuff. What's really nice about this is we created a whole survey. We guys know how Airtable forms work. Again, super simple form, asks you a bunch of questions. And then that form information is tied back in to real-time graphs of people taking the survey. You can take the survey, learn about what we're doing with the survey, and you can see what types of results are coming in. So in this case, who took the survey, what type of people think we should go back to work. Great question we had is what makes hybrid work hard? Is it technology, people, or balance of time? Balance of time. You know, like everything else, you can come in here and see where that data came from. Plus ties back into the real conference itself. With this one, what we wanted to do was take the actual event, which is coming up next month, but start doing marketing for next year's event by building on the success of this paint and getting people involved in it. Again, just like foam palmistry, taking something we would have done in IRL, digitizing it, and then spreading it through the year. Thoughts? Camille, you missed all the times we were doting on you.
I did. I have very limited context, but I'll listen and nod along.
So what do you think? State of Connectedness as a survey. So now again, another event tool, events who hire me. We can do independent sites. Like I'd already started using Airtable and Miro for my event management. As you guys, I've shared this a couple months ago. I'm now using Airtable and Miro Employee to build add-on tools for events.
I think it's great. The form itself reminds me of like a net promoter score kind of thing, like trying to calculate that for like customers. And I also love the embedded Airtable apps.
Aren't they nice? And I think it was Kavan that told me, or maybe it was Camille, I don't remember, told me if you just write the Airtable, they'll let you do that. And again, once you create the app, you just like a share icon.
Like released it again, or like they had stopped for a while and they just recently let you do more.
I don't know, Kavan or Camille.
Or it used to be a beta for embedding apps, and then they closed the beta, and then I think maybe there was something that they reopened again, but I don't remember exactly what it was, where you can embed apps.
Yeah, I don't know if that's recent because I feel like that option has been there for a while. At the same time, though, I was part of the beta. So from my perspective, I might not have ever seen a change. So it could be new for most people, but I feel like it's been there in some capacity for a while.
Yeah. Maybe what it was is maybe it came out of beta.
Yeah.
All I know is I tried to get it, and it said it was in beta on the knowledge article, and it said if you were in, it was no longer in beta. I think it was like retired. They had specific language, but if you wanted to try it, write to them. And then when I did, it was like super simple. And then all you do is when you build an app, it just gives you a little share link right here, just like you would for a base. So again, to embed these on your website, you know, and again, people want kind of these, you know, first they want an easy form, then they want some charts and graphs. You know, to me, it's like, okay, kind of the tools are here, kind of here.
You have to do it for every single app, like write to them.
Can you do a whole dashboard? I don't remember.
They did my entire API. But any base I put in, I've got 2 professional spaces with 5 users apiece. Anything I put in either one has the ability to share.
You have to share each individual app. You have to get each little URL.
Yeah, you have to get,
code.
so I can't build, you're right, I can't build a app drawer or dashboard. What do they call the drawer you put all the apps in?
Dashboard.
Dashboard.
Okay, yeah, I cannot share a dashboard. I have to share each app. But what I was afraid was I had to get permission for each app or get permission for each base and then each app. I just asked once and everything has it turned on.
Yeah, so you got access for your entire account, but then you have to go in and get the link for each app.
Yeah.
And is it by workspace or by account?
It's probably by account.
That's a good point. I don't know. You would need someone super smart. Some of these things I just don't know.
Well, Chris, I think like the use case there and the one before as well, I feel like that's what everybody would come to a developer for, or like a Airtable consultant or developer for, except you actually know, like you have experience and you know how to build it. But that's like really similar to any like survey, like use cases that people come to the Airtable community Facebook group with, or if they just skip that and go straight to like getting someone's free call or that kind of stuff.
And again, I think I would want a developer. I mean, if I had I don't know, the nerve. I'd ask Camille or Kavan to help me build something. Right? I've literally tried to hire people in the past.
If you were a consultant.
Well, I just think, you know, if you want to get someone to do something right, you actually pay someone who knows how to do something, right? I don't think I'm really the right person to develop a lot of stuff for other people because let's be honest, I think a lot of what we're asked to do as consultants, and I won't speak for the developers in the room, Camille and Kavan, but as consultants, we're asked to almost make someone else's dream come true. And for me, I think my dreams are so specific. I mean, if you ever notice the things I design always have a certain look, right? And it's just like, I don't know if I would ever feel comfortable having someone say, that's not quite what I wanted. I would feel so insulted, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Oh well. I wanted to show you those three things. And then I want to show you one last thing I've been working on. So I have been slowly rebuilding my Chris Dancy website. So my website has been on Squarespace forever. And what I liked about it was, again, it's just big, it's loud. But what I didn't like about it was it just never really surfaced my Airtable as a user. So this is all built on Airtable and Pori, but this is kind of the new site. It's got a lot of my applications embedded in it, plus the whole, plus my values now. So you can download my actual values themselves. People have been asking this forever. You can download the template to build your own values. You can get it straight from here. But what I liked about it was it's starting to allow me to take things that I normally share online and I only do at events and then service them out to the world. So in this case, I created something called the Idea Factory, where people can come in here and browse stuff I've created and kind of read more about it. So somewhere between tweets and blogs are these kind of charts and graphs I make when I think about kind of ideas in the future. The other thing it's allowed me to do is come in here and really hone in on what does it take when I build something for an event. So yes, I'll go and speak. I'll speak all over the world, all that kind of stuff. But I wanted to give people a simple 5-step way to book me so they can download my pricing. Anyone can see how much I charge. They can download my contracts. They can download my justification, like this is why you're hiring me. I then allow people to browse my keynote topics by emotion. So what's really great about this is a lot of times people say, hey, we want you to talk about this or talk about that. And I say, don't tell me what topic, because you can down tell the topics all day long. Tell me how you want people to feel. So if you want people to feel provoked, don't give me a topic. I'll tell you the topic. You need witches of Instagram if you want people to feel provoked, right? Because that will give people kind of an overview of magic and technology and to make them feel uncomfortable. And again, it builds in the linked records with the reviews for it. This has been, and by none of this is live, this is about to go live, but this has been a real lifesaver for me because all of a sudden I can externalize what I do for folks. But more importantly, I finally have been able to take decades of interviews, decades of keynotes, and then since they're all in Airtable anyway, and actually put them out on my new base so people can come in and see me, see my work, read about me, or browse anything. So think of it as kind of like a real-time Airtable powered museum for my life. Thoughts?
Is that going to be the new chrisdancy.com?
Yeah, this will be the new chrisdancy.com.
How is that going to work with SEO?
You know, I have got to figure that out. Again, you take someone like you, so like I want to hire Camille. I already have some things I want Camille to do. I want Kavan to help me with some things. And Ben, you too. I don't know. I don't have the first idea how SEO works. I'm not lying. I have no idea.
The knowledge is lost on me. I've been out of the game too long. I don't do that kind of development anymore.
I know what SEO is. I know it's important. But to me, it's just like, I feel like people find me pretty easy. Now, if they put in keynote speaker, like that type of SEO, they're not going to find me. But 80% of my business is word of mouth from old clients.
So you don't actually need that much for SEO.
I don't think so, but I literally am not a specialist. Like if Ben told me I need it, I believe him.
I just know you.
Kavan, have you heard of Finta? I'm sorry, guys. I want to jump back for a second because you weren't here when we talked about this earlier. Finta?
Camille.
Camille. Sorry.
What?
Have you heard of Finta?
Nope.
So this is, I just want to jump back. I know you people who were here at the beginning of the show. This is a application developed by Taylor Fesson. I hope I'm not butchering Taylor's name. Student Airtable person. But what Finta does is it uses Plaid to pull in your data directly into Airtable. So your financial transactions for about $45 a year.
That's cool. Practically nothing.
That's what I was saying.
Cool.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you. So yeah, guys, I think, with everything happening, we've got new content coming out from Airtable with the Table Talk. You've got Gareth. Oh, Camille, you missed it. Gareth launched a new channel.
Another one?
Yes, you did. Oh,
Okay. Where have I been? I don't know.
so he's launched a new channel. Does anyone remember the channel name or the website name? I can't remember any of it right now.
Built to scale.
Built to scale, but he is now teaching other Airtable consultants how to be the 7-figure consultant that he is.
Oh, Jesus.
Like-
What? Should I start charging people?
Well, but this is the thing. I think he's doing amazing, because I had no idea he was a 7-figure consultant who was now able to charge people to help them become 7-figure consultants. Very Tony Robbins. I'm loving it. So yeah, so we've got the new content from Gareth with his new business. We've got softer updates. They've got charts now. Corey's done some things lately with new record views. We're all wondering who her stacker is. What else did we have today? The new wide forms and Airtable.
The Airtable live streams.
The Airtable live streams. We talked about working with consultants. I think we covered a lot.
I think the only thing we didn't cover is your new dog.
Should I go get the dog?
Yes.
If you guys want to see an actual puppy, the cutest puppy on earth,
Is that a question?
Absolutely.
hold please.
Camille, how are you?
Who knows anymore? Doing all right. I think I'm cautiously optimistic of the repercussions, I guess, of wide form Airtable expanded views. It's clearly something's happened.
Yeah, we talked. I'm sure Chris would love to chime in on this. We talked about this earlier, and I was saying, like, I think if they're having, because that same day my scroller froze. I can't remember what, like the scroll bar on the side. I couldn't scroll at all, and neither could some of my clients. And so I feel like when they release like more UI stuff, that I feel like there's gonna be a lot of that.
Yeah.
Like freezes and outages like we saw earlier this year.
Well, there's also the new wider way of configuring automations. I don't know if that's rolled out to everyone yet or not.
It feels like it's everyone. I mean, I haven't seen anyone be like, oh, I'm surprised I don't have it on my account. That is a very cute puppy, Chris.
I'd like you guys to meet Gaia. Say hi, Gaia.
Hi, Gaia.
Hi,
Order coffee or no?
Gaia.
This
What
is
is Gaia?
Gaia. This is my little, yeah, I know Gaia. See, you're on Airtable. You're actually in Airtable. Should we show everybody the Gaia record?
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, yeah, you guys don't want to see.
You're
Gaia's
required.
record, do you? I have to show you Gaia's record? Okay.
Yes.
Oh, that's too funny. Okay, how do I
So
do
I
this?
still have new automation views in any of mine or like many of clients' bases.
So you have you still see the old interface.
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah.
Everyone I'd seen thus far was like, yep, I have it as well. So
For me, it depends on which base I'm in. Some bases have the new and some bases have the old.
Here's Gaia's record.
Oh.
Gaia's parents are in Gaia's record, so we can keep track of where they are. So yes, Camille, the new wide form. I'm optimistic.
yeah, normally when stuff UI related, that's not necessarily like a feature has been changed, but just something about the UI. If there's like no necessary like benefit or something, you see it appear and then it like disappears because they're like, oh, we actually want to release that later, or we're still tweaking something. That's been there for a couple days now. So
Yeah, it's been there for a week. And to me, to your point about kind of when you see things appear and disappear, it always takes me back to this moment. Does anyone know what this is?
glitch in the matrix.
Matrix.
Yes, it's a glitch in the matrix. Was it the exact same cat? did the exact same thing. Yes, I've noticed on Airtable. To me, I swear I called this out in the group. I don't know if you saw this, Camille, but as soon as I saw that widescreen, I thought it's coming. The new kind of form is coming. This is it. Because they have to put the space in there to do the work.
Yeah.
But physically, it has to be there, and they can't kind of do that and test without kind of seeing how it's kind of impact everybody's. Because again, that form is kind of everybody's main view to the world, right? So they kind of have to get the feedback. What I'm surprised is how many people on Twitter and the Facebook group, and I don't know on the other Airtable groups, haven't mentioned it.
I've seen a couple, like a handful, but really only like one per community. So like one on the Built on Air community and like one on the Airtable forums. But it was just like, things are wider now.
Yeah.
That's about it.
I don't know. I think there's a lot going on in the space, and I don't know. I still believe we are at the beginning of something as big as mobile apps were in 2009. We don't see it yet, but I think Airtable is to no code what Apple was to mobile apps. And you take developers like Camille and Kavan who actually know Airtable and how to access that data. You know what I'm doing? I'm writing my own ticket. That's what you guys should be doing. Writing your, hold on, let me actually get the pen out. This is the writing your own ticket pen. Writing your own ticket. Because listen, the only thing stopping you from a 7-figure income is probably Gareth Pronovost' class. You really should check it out. We should see if we get him to sponsor the show.
I don't think you would sponsor the show.
You know, maybe 7 figures. I mean, come on.
Kavan, I used one of your scripts today.
Oh yeah, which one?
The delete a record in an automation. I think it was a very basic script, but it worked.
Okay, yeah, because that's the only way to do it is you need a script to do that.
Yeah.
Where did you get that script?
From the forum.
Okay, I was wondering because I was actually going to, I rewrote that one again, and I actually have another version where it will delete all of the records from a find. And I'm just trying to decide how I want to release them.
I have one on the forums that deletes everything within a particular view.
Mm-hmm. So I was looking for something that would delete everything in a find record action.
Got it.
And what I've actually done is I have a couple scripts that I'm releasing through my Gumroad store that's a pay what you want system. So people can get these scripts, and if they want to pay $0, they pay $0. And these are just like little short scripts. They're like 4 to 10 lines long, but they're designed for people who are kind of curious about code, but they don't want to trust something that's hundreds of lines. They just want to kind of get their feet wet, do something that you can't do without code, and maybe learn a little bit of how it works. So there's actually like about 5 times as much comments in it as actual code.
Mm-hmm.
So
What are some of like the actions that the script can do?
of the ones that I have that I put on my Gumroad. So one of them is, say you have a find record action and you don't find any records, but there's that email that comes afterward that still gets sent out, but you don't actually want to send it out because you didn't find any records. Well, you have branching logic that says if I find no records, don't send it to that person. The other way to do that is with a script. So what this script does, it says, hey, okay, did you find any records? If you found records, send it to email address A. If you didn't find any records, find it to email address B. And then email address B is probably some kind of like junk email address that nobody ever bothers to check, because you still have to have that email actually get sent out. Airtables just can't say don't send the email at all. That send it to some junk email address that no one bothers checking, and that way you don't get any errors. The person actually doesn't get this email that says, here's your information, and there's nothing there.
Yeah, the hope is that with the expanded real estate for the automations UI adjustments that some of us are seeing, is that because it's forced right now, it's forcing you to have the automations in full screen view. So that to me suggests that it's not going to be vertical anymore. It's going to involve perhaps a horizontal layout, which means branching logic. So hopefully we'll be able to say, if previous step equals blank or equals null or equals nothing, then
Mhm.
stop
Do
stop what you're
something.
doing and leave,
Yeah.
and leave or do
Yeah.
something else.
And then
this is
the other
the problem. This is the problem, guys, I've been trying to solve with one of my bases. And that's, I want the base to share something upon a change. And I've asked in the group a few times, and I don't think it's a whole lot, but basically, do you see how my base right now, you've got kind of these seasons, you can see we're in summer, summer, summer.
Yep.
What I want is this tweets out every day, the day. It's pretty cool, right?
Mhm.
What I want it to do is when it changes anything, so it could change season, it could change pagan holiday. So when it changes fall, I want it to actually, it'll show fall. What I want to do is send out the picture associated with fall. So what I need to do is I need to create something so that this view, or I don't know how, whenever one of these big categories like season or zodiac sign or Chinese New Year changes,
Mhm.
it grabs the attachment, the new attachment, and shares it. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Yeah.
The complicated, well, not complicated, but if you're open to adding several more fields to your base, you could have one last modified time field associated with each of those categories. Season, phase of the moon, all of those other categories, one last modified time field for that, and then just have a complicated formula, not even complicated, just long, that says which modified date is the most recent, and then figuring out which date, how that date is associated with each of those fields, which you can do, because each last modified time would be only looking at one field. So then you know this most recent update is associated with this particular field. And then
to me, I was just thinking, why
No.
can't you say,
Now
look
you're
at
creating a
look
script.
at yesterday, look
Because
at
you
today.
can't look at yesterday, but you can do it with, I mean, I'm thinking about W, and I'm thinking roll up fields where you roll it up and then you roll it down. Where
at some
you go and
point,
say, and you have a formula that
some-
says, for the current year, what is the minimum value for this season of my linked records, and then compare it that. So roll ups and formulas.
I
Yeah.
gave Chris a solution a while ago, and it was basically every day you have another table somewhere else, and every day it tweets and it updates today's tweet and it archives yesterday's tweet. And then in there's just a formula on every value that you want to compare. And if they don't equal each other, after it like updates today's tweet information, then it tweets out, or like then it like includes whatever is different. But if there's,
Don't you have a view that shows you yesterday and today, and it just says if this field is different in yesterday than today, then now take the action, which would be send out the tweet when the tweet would have the attachment from the right field.
this would
I'm
make
out of it.
everything in one record. So you'd
Okay.
have fields for yesterday's tweet and fields for today's tweet.
But we
Because
could do this with branching logic a lot easier, couldn't we? Once we kind of get to that point, or
yes,
still no. Yeah.
yes, yeah. There would be a lot, I think, to configure, just because you're looking at not one category, you're looking at what appeared to be 5, perhaps. So
And you nailed it. It was moon, which is the closest. That's like, you 4 times a month. Then you've got season, which is only 4 times a year. Then you've got zodiac, which is 12 times a year. And again, I could manually just say on these dates, but since the dates are already in here, I'm like, I don't want to hard code 25 automations and then redo them every year to point
Sure.
to just share. And I've created custom art for all of these things. And again, this is not a real business problem. It's just fun. Oh, I love you guys. Yeah.
does anybody
Yeah.
have an example of the new automations? Because this is what mine.
yeah, I can open up on one of my bases, the
Mine
base I use to test all automation things. Hold on.
Chris, you may not have seen this.
No, I haven't.
Automation interface.
I just know send a weekly digest is, but I think that's just, I don't know what the beta is on that. What does it mean by beta? Just weekly digest is a beta?
That trigger
As a
of a
beta.
time-based trigger.
Oh, okay, yeah, I've used that. I do like that.
So just in terms of UI, I don't know if you guys are, even if you don't have the updated interface, if you see like, there's like color coded icons and there's like
Yeah.
little animations and stuff. I don't know if you guys can see that, but more importantly, when you click on any one of these, this is what I mean by it forces full screen, like everything else goes away.
Wow.
Yeah.
Look at all that real estate.
It's an awful lot of real estate, which implies certain things. And so right now there's no new functionality that I couldn't really do before. Collapsing group means nothing really to me because you can only have one group so far. You can add new actions either above or below, which I believe you could have done anyway. So again, there's nothing new that I can do, but it implies being able to have multiple groups, like being able to collapse a group and you only have one group is silly and pointless. So to me, it implies that eventually you'd be able to have different groups. And perhaps one of the benefits of having grouped actions would be run this group if this, or skip this group if that. And again, because there seems to be, this is a defined width of how much space actions take up in the screen real estate. I believe every single action only fills up this same like width, which means there's all this extra space to the left and right, which again to me implies, I have no evidence, but it implies if I were a user interface designer, what that means to me is that you'd be able to add things either to the left or the right, which again would be branching logic. So follow this path if this, follow that path if that. This to the side is just where your run history goes. If I were to go in and edit a step, it appears off to the right-hand side. So you'd be able to, if I had more steps in this automation, you'd be able to see everything sort of in context of each other and then edit the particular items of that step off to the right-hand side.
That's cool. That's really cool. I think this is a big, and I don't have this view yet. Go back to this screen you're looking at before. Yeah, I don't have those cutesy colors automation.
Yeah, I was gonna say, like, I don't know how much everyone else can see, but here's another example with a couple more steps in it. Run history, if you don't have any step selected, is just off to the right-hand side, and then you click for more information about that particular run. Again, it's a little stuff, but I really like the color coding and just the design of this new interface. I think it looks super cute. And then if you click on each one of these steps, you can see more information about that step without kind of losing track of how it fits within the hierarchy and order of everything else. So
I've seen two other they're new to me and we haven't had this for like 2 weeks, and maybe it's somewhere in between there, but on the like filters on each view, they've added like the name of the field that's being filtered. Like,
yes.
Have you guys seen that?
I have.
Oh yeah, there's like these kind of like automatically added
Yeah, there's those
just
and
little descriptions like
Yeah.
are being pulled from the options that you select. So probably if I were to do find records, it'll probably give me information about the thing that I'm searching for. I don't know. Maybe I'm gonna test. And again, you can see a good
That's
thing about
nice.
this new layout is that
Yep.
you could have, I think it showed errors before, but now you can see sequentially where the orders, where the errors are and all that kind of stuff.
so I was talking, so that's
Yeah.
one thing as well, but I was talking about in the actual like Airtable grid view.
Oh, where?
Like they updated it in both places. Like if you have a filter on this or any view with a filter, like it has like filter on whichever table name or field name. And they used to just say filter, I think.
Oh,
Mine
filter.
does.
Oh. What if I have two filters going? Then what?
But I think it goes to 2.
Oh, what? That's
Yeah.
useful.
Yeah.
Because, just again, user interface design, there's a lot of empty space, white space.
Mhm.
which isn't a bad thing in terms of like user interface design, but if you have the space to fill stuff up, why not take advantage?
Yeah, and
So-
like
But if
even
I
your
group things though,
your
but
share,
then-
your share view has a lightning bolt.
yeah,
Yeah.
So is that allow allowed to be synced with other bases is probably what that lightning bolt is, yeah.
So there was one other thing that I noticed this week. So if you, can you go to an automation, and you'll add a new one. Add another action,
Mhm.
and then pick Slack and send a Slack message.
I don't have Slack configured, so I
That's
might
okay.
not be able to do things.
Oh, it doesn't give you all the options. Here, I'll share my screen.
Yeah, okay. I didn't hook up my Slack to my Airtable.
That's okay.
I love when you're in your office and I can see lovely LA.
Yeah, I don't own this office. I'm just kind of here.
I know, but I always like
Yes.
that I can see LA.
See this automation? So if I select my Slack account, you can send messages dynamically, like to different channels.
Oh, that dynamic filter or dynamic option was only available in certain actions, and they've added it to more actions, you're saying?
Yeah, yeah. So I never knew that you could, because this is very useful now for like one of my clients. They'll basically send like reminders and DMs to people,
Mhm.
or it like uses what's called the Slack bot, which is just like, it is what it sounds like it is. But now instead of having a different automation for every person, which you can only have 20, you can make it dynamic and pull like you first have to go get like their like user ID from Slack, but then you just add that as like a lookup field when you link to their client record, and look up their user ID in here, and it sends the message to
Yeah.
anyone's user ID that matches.
Can you click that blue plus icon and just show people like, yeah, you would pull
Oh,
it from the record?
Yeah, so you'd pull it from here, and it would probably be a lookup. So this one is just a contacts table, so it would be in this. But if it was like
Yeah, but
tasks table and you had like a task that was 7 days overdue, then you would insert like the ID of the channel, which would be if you want to send a DM, it'd be the ID of the person. But just like this.
Wow. I did not know that dynamic option was there. I don't use Slack, but that's kind of hot. This insert Airtable, right? I always think that UI needs to be cleaned up.
None of my clients ever know how to use this. Like,
I've used a lot of field pickers in my life, especially for process automation. I mean, Zapier has gone through a lot of iterations, but this one's really difficult, especially if you want to grab something from an existing record. You have to say record ID. It doesn't make sense. And then if you mess up, to backstep is a nightmare. I don't even know how to say what I'm saying.
Well, if you've included like a dynamic variable as like the name of the channel or in the body of the message, and you want to, yeah, like you're saying, like backspace or delete something that you've had in there, it's really finicky. So, knowing what the blue button does is one thing, but like actually dealing with the variable once it's in there is kind of annoying.
I find my cursor like disappears whenever it's even close to the.
It doesn't quite know what to do with the variable. Like it'll work as long as you picked the right one the first time, but if you want to go back and change it, it's a little difficult.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, Airtable's done what we needed to do. It got good at just putting data in something, giving us lots of ways to organize, view, group, filter, etc. And everything on top of this now is gravy. I swear to gosh.
Yeah, I think they're at a good point. Like again, I want branching logic and other stuff added to the automations. But when automations first came out, so many people no longer needed a Zapier Integromat integration to do the very minimal stuff that they wanted to do. Like if all you wanted to do was send yourself an email, you don't have to get a third party something or other anymore. And if you need something more complex, then that's what Zapier and Integromat are for. But I appreciate that they've added in, just the basics for some of this stuff, and it keeps them competitive with the four elements tables that keep coming out, the fire table and the sea table, and I'm still not over sea table. That one is absurd.
Did you hear about this, Chris?
What?
There's a
Seatable.io, SEA.
It's like an open source.
so we have Airtable and C table.
Like there's so many competitors now to Airtable. Like that's not the problem. It's so identical that it's
It's egregious. Yeah.
it's ridiculous, and
It's
like,
literally filter, sort, hide column. Well, it's not like
the icons are the same. Now, Fire Table, again, the four elements, this looks different. Like this is visibly a different product, even though it has much of the same functionality and some new features that Airtable doesn't have. C Table has some functionality that Airtable doesn't have, but the user interface design is so close. It's like they didn't even try, and that's what annoys me.
Well, that was my big problem with software in the beginning, was they literally came along and literally used Pori's actual templates. Like didn't even bother like creating different Airtable bases. They just Pori's.
They use their
Yeah,
screen.
Yeah, it's just like, yeah, I kind of like that. I had not heard of C-Table. You showed us another one last time. It was open source one.
Yeah,
it wasn't
there's-
Fire Table. It was something else.
No, that's what I'm saying. There's like now so many. So it's not that, oh, there's another one on the market. It was just that like the other ones at least looks, similar, but we changed the rounding of our buttons and the colors are different and yada yada. We've styled things differently. Like this is straight up Airtable.
I think the naming here is hilarious too.
It's the naming. Like I was so focused on the interface at first. Someone else pointed out to me that sea as opposed to air, and then there's Fire Table, and now the last one left is Earth or Terra Table, and I'm waiting for that one.
Earth, Wind, and Fire. What I think is great about this, and I mentioned this when you brought up the open source one.
Base Row was one of them. There was two, baserow.io, and then there's another one whose name I forgot, but it was also a decent option.
Even though these companies aren't, I would consider like serious competitors for Airtable, what they do is allow us to have flexibility in getting off of Airtable if we wanted to or had to.
Yeah.
Now, I doubt Airtable will ever be in a situation when they just deplatform someone. But deplatforming is a big deal for a lot of people, right?
Yeah.
We've seen GoDaddy shut down companies, other things like that. And I think again, I know CSV is no lamb to the slaughter, but I think it's damn close at being kind of a savior for people, because being able to take your data with you is kind of the new sexy for this decade, in my opinion.
Mm-hmm.
Just a
and
feeling.
the advantage of all, I think it's true of all of the open source ones, is that they're self-hosted, so that you don't have to rely. You have offline mode just out of the box, and then B, it's less reliant on giving your data to someone else. So there's certainly like advantages. That it.
And for the longest time, I mean, did you ever run a server, Camille? In your, I just don't know why I'm asking you.
No, I escaped that portion of development before it became too relevant for what I do.
Yeah. Because like back in the late 90s, man, we all ran our own servers at home. I had a SCO Unix one running everything. Before we go, I know you missed it, Camille. I just want to show you this real quick. This is the new offering from Gareth. It's called Built to Scale. Mm-hmm. His new video and class at his new company will show you how to make 7 figures. So just doing Airtable. So definitely check it out. I know this is, I think you'd be an excellent consultant.
I don't. My problem is fundamental in that I simply don't. It's not that I'm not charging people enough. It's that I don't charge people at all. So like I could be making more, but no, that's what my actual job is for. I'm in it for the fashion.
No, see, that's the thing is Ben and I joke. We talk about this all the time whenever we get to chat on the phone together. I was like, Ben, whatever you do, you're an amazing Airtable consultant, but don't stop there. Do not become an Airtable consultant, because like when you got the skills that Ben's a communicator, he's got a thriving company, he sells more than just consulting now. He's got training, he's got support products, the whole bit. Ben, am I talking out of school?
No, you're good.
I don't want to get in trouble. But I think so many of these people, they just get to a point where they just become consultants. And the thing I've always enjoyed about you is that I enjoyed about Kavan is you do it for the passion, right? You do it because you're interested in it, but you guys have like lives, you know? I don't want to say that like being an Airtable consultant isn't life, but I just think the minute Airtable becomes your life, you know, when everything looks like a base, you're kind of basey.
I think that's like one of the biggest downsides that I've found about being primarily an Airtable consultant is it seems like everybody that I work with like has like a real business. Like I'm setting systems up for like real businesses that like they're like doing things, and I don't know, it's a lot different than like purely providing a service of like setting Airtable and some other systems up like they're mortgage brokers or real estate agents or like social media agents.
But I think what you're doing when you're selling Airtable systems for people, Ben, don't ever forget this, is you're not selling consulting on Airtable. You're selling the externalization, the visualization of their actual business, right?
Yeah.
Their businesses are great, whether they're selling property or doing social media or tarot cards from a database. You're making it possible and you're making it visible. Some of these businesses, you know this, they don't even know what their processes are. And you end up giving almost sheet music to just something that's just lyrics. You know, so don't ever put yourself down for that.
It kind of makes me think about is like how much more could I do if I just like went and did like a real business, but then used Airtable to like do everything.
Well, what's a Ben's real business in the future?
I don't know. I don't know. Like it's a good question.
Corgi farm.
Well, like some of my clients, like for example, transaction coordinators, like I feel like they manage real estate transactions. That's like all they do. They work from home. They don't have to like do all like the bad stuff that real estate, like work late nights, work weekends, ruin their social life, all that. Like they work from home. It's great. But I feel like I could do one of their roles because I now know everything about them, but just automate everything and have like a similar job or like income to them.
I'm sure Henry Ford shoed a lot of horses before he ever thought about building a car. And I'll leave that there. Once you get behind the curtain, which is where you are, you can stop dreaming about Oz and go there. Stay where you are, learn as much as you can, and then clean house. Take it from an old man. All right, speaking of old man, kids, I have got to go to sleep. We need to end this live stream or let me go.
Yes. Thank you both for showing up. Thank you, Kuvan, as well. She went earlier, but thank you. We will see you guys next week. It's been great to get back on here. It's been 2 weeks, I think, since we've been on here, maybe 3 weeks since we've been on here.
I've been so busy.
Everybody. Camille, we still need to do an intro with your app so we can get a proper demo of it. So
They've seen it.
But we need to live. It's always better when you do stuff live. I love when you share your screen. It's like getting to see your socks. It's like the highlight of my day.
All right, well.
we did it once, but it was all the way at the end of a video, so I don't think many people got to see it.
Yeah, I didn't want to hijack the episode just to talk about little old me, so.
But I usually talk about little old you.
Yeah, you were there that episode.
You were 10 minutes of our talk before you showed up today.
Well, we will see you
Right.
guys next week. Thank you for joining. Join the Airtable Community Facebook group if you would like to join next week. We'll see you
And
then.
make sure you contribute before you just post your spam.
Or else your post will get deleted. Bye now.